Hello and welcome to the Transatlantic Pop Wrestling Podcast episode 2. And we are here. I am half of your host. I am Elder Sam from Sam's on Wrestling, where we have a video every Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday. Go check us out. And I am joined by an American, because this is what happens when you put an American and a Brit on the same day with the same microphone talking about wrestling and most likely going off on a tangent. Now, why have I done all the talking? I'll tell you why. Because my co-host here, the host of the IW Guide, as well as the NXT Night Shift, is hung over. He has had a long night. We're recording this the 11th of June. It's a Thursday morning, and I am with JGold.
So it's worse that it's if you're watching this Monday, hopefully I'm gonna say the Knicks have won the title, but I was up last night. I was at my dinner club. Now, Sam, I do once a month, and I've talked about it on some other shows, but we do in my town. I met a guy about 6 years ago who was part of this group in New York City called the Gastronauts. And what they would do is they would go around the city and go to a different cultural restaurant once a month. Lovely. And they had a mailing list, and you had to sign up. And each restaurant held about 60 to 80 people, but the mailing list was like 10,000. So most of the time it was hard to get on. So they came to Long Island during COVID, where I live, and they wanted to start another dinner club. So we started this dinner club with 10 guys. Okay, first it started off as a bunch of dads who wanted to go out for dinner, so we went for Lebanese food. So we do Lebanese food the first month. This is 4 years ago, and then the next month it was started with 13. The next month, guys were like, "Can I bring some friends?" It went to 26. The next month, people were like, "Are we allowed to bring wives to this thing?" So we're like, "Yeah, we didn't tell any. This wasn't dads only. You guys decided not to bring your wives." So people started bringing their wives.
Says a lot about your culture, doesn't it?
It started expanding into where they wanted to. These two guys, my friend and his buddy, wanted to start like expanding on it and doing monthly, open up a mailing list and name it. So one of the guys was obsessed with Anthony Bourdain, like obsessed. Yeah. So we use his code of how we eat and everything, and the name of the group is called the Dead Chef Society. So if you follow me on Instagram, I post once a month. I do all the social media. I put through all the information, deadchefsociety.net. And we go to a different cultural restaurant every month. Now we have 1,200 people on our mailing list. Last night was the 50th dinner we've done in 4 years plus. Right. And last night was Persian food. So how ironic, we eat Iranian food last night. And last night
I'm surprised you weren't allowed in. I'm surprised.
The Persians love it.
The whole restaurant have been told to leave.
No, the Persians love us. We're good. I grew up with Persians my whole life in Long Island, where I lived in Great Neck. And the Persians and the Jews like me and we all get along. Their food is delicious. Yes. But the problem was the Knicks were on last night, Game 4 of the NBA Finals. The Knicks are down 30 points in the first half. I'm drinking Black Label neat the entire night. And so I am sitting at this table, and there's 87 people in this room. We take the whole restaurant. So the whole restaurant, they close the restaurant, they give it to us. We get a custom menu. And they bring out meals at a time. Now, the service was very slow, so I am power bombing, scotch the whole time, and watching the game. And a couple next to me, they're delightful. So the rules are you have to sit with anybody. You're not allowed.
When I said in my introduction that tangents will happen,
I'm just giving you
a wrestling podcast. Carry on.
I'm just giving you an idea. So this nice couple is next to me. You have to sit with people you don't know. Part of the rules are you can't tell people that that's gross or you won't eat it. You have to try everything. Right. And I am sitting there just cursing at some sort of deranged lunatic at the television.
This is, for anyone who can't remember what day is it, this is the night where the Spurs decided they didn't want to win a game.
No, they were up by, and in case, this is, so June 10th last night, the Spurs were up 30 points at the half. The Knicks ended up coming back to win. However, the entire first half I was at dinner. So I was a mess, screaming, cursing. I get home. My wife is like, "Why are you in such a terrible mood?" I'm like, "I don't want to talk about it." I go to the bathroom for 5 minutes. I come back. The Knicks are starting to creep up. And then around 11:45, they win the game, and I am getting clobbered on the Main Event Network Discord. And the Knicks win the game, and I'm sitting there drinking Cointreau to end my night. And I'm like, okay.
I am not cleaning up that mess. Blackheath and Cointreau?
So,
what kind of middle-class crap is this?
That's my father-in-law, being Moroccan. He drinks Cointreau at the end of the night all the time. So like he got me into it. So I have this huge bottle of Cointreau that when the end of the night comes, the Knicks, I don't have any more scotch. I drank it all. I have no more bourbon. So I am watching the highlights till 2 a.m. Eastern. So now it's 8 o'clock. So I literally got 4 hours of sleep.
That's amazing.
I am this pounding headache. I've been drinking coffee all morning, and I am ready to go.
And you're here with the loudest.
I'm fine with it.
Exuberant ginger British guy you've ever known.
And wait, and the other good thing is I already gave notice. I'm starting a new job in 3 weeks. So I already gave notice 4 days ago. So this is, I don't have anything I have no stress, my friend. I can talk for 10 hours. If everybody from the UK can stand my stupid voice, we can talk forever.
We can.
Anyway, yes. Let's talk about wrestling because I'm going to watch stuff about the Knicks all day anyway. So we can talk wrestling today because there's a lot to talk about. And there always is.
If anyone is unfamiliar with what we do, this is episode 2. We are essentially a monthly podcast where we will cover kind of stuff that's been happening within the month from mainly WWE, but we'll talk about other things as well from AEW, etc. If it turns up or if it's interesting to talk about. We'll have one main talking discussion point as well as things from the internet and things actually as a review kind of any big talking points, Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, etc. But we want to talk about a little bit of a fun one actually to kick off with because there's been a lot of talk about let this guy get over, get this guy over, build this new star up, build this guy up. This guy's a main eventer. This guy should be a main event. There's been a lot of that weirdly in the last 2 months of chatter. And literally last time we were like, should we do a section on what happened to that guy? Or why wasn't he a main eventer? What happened to them? And we're bucker it. We're going to do it. So why not? Do you have anyone who you want to throw out to start with? What happened to them?
I figure I would let you lead this one away. I know that you were excited to do this one. When I talk to you, so the tangents will go that direction. Once you start into it, all of a sudden my brain will start working and we'll come up with a bunch.
I'll start off with one that actually makes me sad because I actually know why they didn't make it, sort of thing. And I'll go with someone from WWE ECW is what I'll go with. And it's Marcus Cor, otherwise known as Monty Brown from TNA. Because I know why. Because as far as I remember, I've not researched it. I think his sister died, and he retired from wrestling to look after her children and stuff. But oh my God, this guy had all the tools to be something. If you don't know about Monty Brown, watch a bit of his TNA. First of all, he was built. Back before there was any type of things.
He was built like a fire hydrant. His body was just...
But he was an American football player. He was a proper American football player. So I think that's where his body came from.
But his waist was like this big, and his whole body came out like this. Like that's how he would come out, and like nobody's built like that anymore. And he was super athletic.
He was so fast.
Yeah.
And they gave him the perfect finishing move, which was the pounce, which is just such a cool move because people would go actually legitimately flying.
Well, so let's talk about that move. Hold on, before we pass over that, because I wanted to ask you, and I thought about this all the time back in the day when he did it, right?
Yeah.
That move 100% works on a six-sided ring.
Yes, it
that
does.
move does not 100% work in a standard 4x4 wrestling ring.
No, you have to get your angles right to it look good. Yeah,
it looks so good in the six-sided ring because you could just bang on any corner, right? And you could hit it. And and I always found it funny because I feel like a six-sided ring is smaller than the WWE.
They took a 20 by 20 and cut off the corners.
Yeah, and so when you have a 20 by 20 and you're Irish whipping them in and you're trying to find that spot, you know how hard it is to time it right? Like when he was Monty Brown, he timed it right every time because he could come from the angles and he would throw. Nowadays there are some really good. I remember Roman got pounced over And then in NXT, there was a Keith Lee pounced somebody,
yeah,
Ricochet, I think, into the crowd, whatever.
Yes, that's the one. Yes.
And that looks great. However, I think the thing about when he was Marcus Corvan was it's harder to get that off. And I think by the time he got to ECW, I think there was just something you could tell his mind wasn't in it, right?
Yeah, like he got him really hot. First maybe 2 months, you could tell he was really like building towards something. And then I think they put him in the new breed just to kind of let him settle and stuff like that. Because I think they knew they had something. Because if you ever seen him talk, he can talk. I mean, there is one really bad promo in TNA when I think a pay-per-view got cut off. I think they had to there was like a fire or something, so they had to tell everyone to leave. But they're live on pay-per-view, and they like randomly went up to wrestlers and went, cut a 10-minute promo, and he cuts maybe one of the worst promos in history. But I think it's hard justice, my brain's telling me, but don't quote me to that.
You're right. Oh my God, you're so smart. While you were saying that, I go into ChatGPT. August 13th, 2006, Hard Justice pay-per-view at the Impact Zone. A pyrotech malfunction caused a fire that became one of the most memorable moments in TNA history. They evacuated the crowd, a first in live pay-per-view history. Less than 30 minutes later, gave the all clear and allowed him back in.
Well, I can pull crap. There's a reason my TikTok is...
Listen, Sam, that is outstanding. I don't even know how you remember the name. That was outstanding.
I genuinely am so giddy right now.
I can't even...
Tiger with arm swing.
You were right on it, too. So as opening pyro exploded, a burlap bag in the rafters caught fire, igniting the padding on the lighting rig.
Wow. That sounds so TNA. It's unbelievable.
Holy, yes. That's the best TNA of all TNAs. That's great.
I found Marcus Corvan so cool. I thought he looked good. Great image, great look. And I don't just mean the body as well. Great look. I thought he wore the right attire. Really athletic, could talk, charismatic. And it's a real shame that kind of life stopped him. But I really think that TNA didn't give him the ball either. And they missed a trick. Because he'd been in TNA for about 4 years and they didn't really give him the ball.
He never had a world title, right?
I don't believe so. He maybe might have had a very short run, potentially, but I don't think so. Because I think Jarrett happened around him, and then other people started appearing like your Jeff Hardy started appearing.
How about this? Monty Brown never won one title in TNA.
Yeah, I was going to say, he wasn't worthy of anything. Yeah, it's a real shame. And it showed, but I wanted to bring him up more because I wanted to show him also a little bit of respect for what he did. So essentially give up your career to go and be a parental figure. There's nothing but respect I want to give. I'll throw another one then who did eventually go to WWE ECW, but I don't want to talk about their WWE ECW character because it sucks.
Okay.
Actually, it was in the new breed as well. I want to talk about 2004's Mordecai.
Kevin Thorne. Listen, I can tell you stories about Kevin Thorne. He's been in AIW out in Cleveland.
I had a feeling. I brought him up because I had a feeling you would know.
He's actually a really nice dude, and the guys over in AIW booked him for a show, and I think he wrestled Swoggle. Because they wanted to do something fun, and it was Kevin Thorne. Remember, the whole story about Kevin Thorne was that Undertaker took one look at him and was like, "There is no way. There's no way." So
it's like they built this guy to be the anti-taker. They put him in white, give him this cool look, give him this cool entrance. And let's be honest here, this is 2004. You don't need to know how to work at this point. Not at all. JBL was WWE champion. Let's be honest here.
I liked JBL as WWE champion.
Fucking hate JBL.
I liked him as champion. I thought he was great as
don't start me off on JBL WWE champion. I've done enough on my channel about how much I hated JBL.
Oh Lord, listen.
We've actually got a video coming out, I believe this month, on See the Good in JBL's WWE title reign. So I've got no choice but to only be positive. So it's a video series we do where I've got to be positive about things. We've done things like Michael Cole's heel run and the anonymous general manager. So I've had to talk positively about some absolutely horrific things.
There's nothing. I don't even know how you say anything positive about the anonymous GM ever. I don't know how you could.
We found stuff. Go check it out. But
one of the stupidest fucking things I remember in my whole life.
He ran away because of the Nexus was attacking general managers. That's where it came from. He ran away from the Nexus. But the Mordecai thing, he could be reasonable wrestler. He was a solid hand. He was never going to be a main eventer. But you could easily, like, if you've got people like the Great Khali and Big Daddy V get title shots and stuff like that in this sort of era, Mordecai could have done as well. Why build the character? And then even if The Undertaker goes, no, because literally the first thing he did, I remember this, right? He actually did a promo about Eddie Guerrero first.
Right.
And then he had a match with Hardcore Holly, had a Great American Bash, and Bob Holly being Bob Holly, no-sold everything bar the finish.
Well, you remember how he came back as Kevin Thorne in ECW, yes. Which wasn't horrible, the presentation. Maybe if they would have presented him like that instead of Mordecai, it would. By the way, just to give you an update, it was Kevin Thorne versus Danhausen, okay? Right. October 9th, 2020, in Indianapolis. There was a barn that was running the Collective, which was all of these indie shows. We used to do the Collective every year here on the back of the WrestleMania and whatever, but they wanted to get back into wrestling. I think it was run by GCW. Okay. And Kevin Thorne as Mordecai wrestled Danhausen in a barn during COVID. And I can tell you this because I have the friends who were there. Everybody at that show got COVID. Everybody.
Well, yeah.
But it's an indoor barn style without, walls, whatnot. They ran like 10 shows in there.
They thought because it was outdoors.
Well, that's how you got around it. They shows
proven to be nonsense.
Well, the promotions I get it. But the promotions wanted to not go out of business.
If anyone is still COVID nearly killed me. I'm going to make that clear.
Really?
I nearly died. Yeah, I got diabetes because of COVID. So
really?
Yeah, literally 2019. We weren't even in lockdown. I suddenly, right at the end of, I was at drama school, and I suddenly got a horrific cough, like chest infection-y style cough, really bad, and I couldn't shift it for a month. And I have great immune system, or I did at the time. And I suddenly felt really rough one day, like really, really, really rough. And literally, when I went to see my girlfriend a couple of days later, she lived in Nottingham at the time, and I suddenly was just walking around going, I feel like crap again. I feel like I need sugar. I feel like I'm low on sugar. Had a Fanta and felt amazing. And by the way, our Fanta is not your Fanta.
Right. Ours is made of complete chemicals that'll grow a third.
Ours has got orange juice in it.
Yes. Better.
I felt amazing afterwards. I was like, I'm okay now. And then did that for the next 6 months. Kept feeling like crap. And then out of nowhere having, I don't know, a lilt or something like that. And finally, my girlfriend, she saved my life, actually. She essentially beat me up and went, go to the doctor, please. And this was in lockdown. And I went, no, they're not going to see anyone. They will see people who are important and blah, 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 blah. She went, and I went, fine. So I messaged them at 9 o'clock in the morning thinking, they ain't going to get back to me. And they messaged me at 9:30 and went, you've got an appointment at 3. And I went, oh, okay. So I wandered in. There's no one in there because it's COVID. Yeah. And the guy went, oh, yeah, you're diabetic. Hospital's that way. And then I got into hospital after a bit of a panic that my life was going to change. I'm only like 27, 28, so I'm really old. And I got told off because they went, why are you not taking your insulin? And I was like, because I'm not diabetic until now. So yeah, that's the NHS one. And then literally somebody saw my file. I was there eating dinner. And someone went, oh my God, get him on fluids now, like that. And I'm like, what's the problem? I'm having bangers and meth. We're okay. So they literally told me that my numbers. So you have something called ketoacidosis.
Yeah.
You have keto numbers, and your numbers are allowed to be between 0 and 0.6. And in reality, they should be 0.
Right. Okay?
Mine were 3. So my blood was just mainly made of acid, apparently.
Oh my God.
I was on the verge of death. I climbed a mountain the week before. Generally true story. Climbed a mountain.
And you didn't feel like holy crap, like I have to pee all the time, or I don't know what to.
I peed every 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then literally after I was speaking to people, and they were like, did you feel like there was any illness or anything? Because we're trying to work out why a 28-year-old was getting diabetes. And they've now proven there's been a massive link between COVID and type 1 diabetes since. And I went, well, I had a severe chest infection in December. And it turns out where I lived was one of the first places that actually had COVID in the country. And they were like, that probably did it. So, yes, COVID can do damage. Don't be stupid.
Killed Kevin Thorne's run, but he was around.
Should we do? Have you got anyone you got ahead? I've got a couple more.
No, I think I think that was perfect. I don't know. Right. I wanted to say though, I am speaking of Kevin Thorne and some of these guys, I am going this Monday night coming up to Brooklyn.
Today.
That would be the day it drops. I'll be there right now. So AIW, there was a 7-year documentary film called Slow Burn Shoot about AIW. Mm-hmm. And they have been doing a road tour, and it's wrapping up in New York, in Brooklyn on Monday night. And the two guys who are going to be doing the three guys, the Q&A is Joey Janela, Tracy Hot Sauce Williams, and Adam, I forgot his last name, but he is Orange Crush, who is doing, he does JCW and a bunch of stuff here. And so my daughter and I are going to roll up, and the documentary focuses on 3 different talents. So it's Tyler Jordan, Josh Bishop, and Josh Prohibition, and it's about like the newest guys in it, the guys trying to find their way, and the guys retiring, basically. Okay. And it's a documentary that they filmed over the last several years. 7, but I think they started in like 2017, 2018. They stopped in like 2023, or maybe 24. But it's been getting really good reviews. So I will be there on Monday night. Watching this, speaking of like where are they and things, because they interview Colt Cabana, they interview Ethan Page, they interview Swoggle, Tom Lawler, all the guys who are now on television or who have had these long careers, all passed through AIW. So I'm going to be there, at the documentary. I'm very excited. I wish John Thorne, the owner of AIW, was going to be there in New York. But it's going to be exciting. And then when we talk about where are they and things like that, my mind shifts to like different things, like seeing Kevin Thorne in AIW and seeing, Monty Brown. Everybody is dying for Monty Brown to ever have a revival. But
I don't know how old he would be now. Like, he left ECW 19 years ago. How old would he be?
Oh no, he's probably in his late 50s, I would say at this point.
Maybe not late 50s, but he's going to be close, isn't he? Surely.
I would think so, right?
I thought so. Because what would he have been in? Well, he had an American football career, so he probably was started in TNA quite late anyway. You might be right.
So he's 56 years old.
Yeah, I was going to say he started in TNA late, so hopefully. Can I throw one name out?
Yeah, do it.
Not main eventers.
Do it.
I just want to talk about them. Because we're doing what happened. The Gobbledygooker. Can we talk about the Gobbledygooker?
Who was in there? Hector Guerrero?
Hector Guerrero, meaning at WrestleMania 17, there were 3 Guerreros on the show.
I mean, I think Hector Guerrero, remember he was in TNA for a while?
As a commentator, and then took over the, I've forgotten the name now, Hernandez and Homicide. He ended up
LAX. LAX. When they put Homicide in the 6-inch lifts because he was too short.
But didn't, hang on, which one's which? Which one's the tall one? I always get them
confused. That's Hernandez. Yeah, Hot Stuff Hernandez.
Hernandez was the one that Dixie Carter had a massive crush on and kept wanting to put him in the main event and kept asking, like, pictures of him and stuff.
So Hernandez turned out to be allegedly just a bad guy in general. People kind of got ostracized from wrestling, but
can't climb out of a cage with a hole at the top.
But the only thing I
call it the anus cage.
I thought that was great. I'm like, they're actually going to make these guys try to crawl out from this thing that,
so difficult. Let's be honest, it's the giant anus. It really is. it's like this, then curls over, and then
it's the fact that they built this thing. Were like, the coolest thing will be having these guys hanging over the ring 12 to 18 feet up, trying to get through this tiny hole to get out, and only the smallest and most agile guys are going to be able to get out.
And then they make Hernandez do it.
But Hernandez did a couple of cool things. The border toss was a great move.
We reviewed TNA on the show, and we reviewed Kurt Angle's first kind of 6 months, 7 months. So we reviewed every pay-per-view. And we just got so sick of watching the Dudley Boys versus LAX, to be honest. But we were always blown away by Hernandez's border toss, because we remember him doing it to Gail Kim.
Yeah.
And sending her to another country, to be honest.
But like,
it really was a border toss.
But I can't ever in my mind. Last week was my birthday, so now I'm 48 years old, and the funniest damn thing in my life, and I still use the example. No one else gets it because no one watched it. Is I'll say somebody is wearing Homicide's lifts in their shoes, and like, because I see Homicide, he was here all the time. Like he wrestled in ETU, he wrestled in GCW, and I remember him in Hoboken. When I lived in New Jersey at a school, I
love the word Hoboken because to me as a Brit, it doesn't sound like a real word.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It really doesn't sound real. Hoboken. I'm sorry, what?
That's my town. I lived there for 15 years. So there was an elementary school that used to host.
We've got places in this country. Generally, we've got a place called Twat. For example, like that is a real place. Someone has to put on their address when they're sending a letter or they're filling in their forms with a twat. We've got.
Listen, there's a Buttsville, New Jersey. So I mean, we drove by them the other day. My daughter goes, "Look, that says Buttsville." I was like, I can't believe it.
I lived right next to a place called Three Cocks Lane. I mean, we've got plenty.
So he wrestled at this elementary school when I was in Hoboken, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to see Homicide. And the first time I ever saw him live, I'm like, he is really short. And like, I could not. And then I went back and looked at the old TNA, and I swear to you, his lifts, they were this high. Like, they made him wear that stuff and it's like, come on.
Who had bigger lifts, him or Kane? Who had bigger lifts?
No, I get what they were doing with Kane, though, because he was already 6'8" or whatever, 6'7".
They wanted him to be taller than The Undertaker, even though he wasn't actually
taller. Right. And you could see those. But to get a guy like Homicide, he looked like he was wearing stilts. There was no reason for a guy to have. Why are your feet so wide? Like, what did you?
If he ever kicked anybody, they wouldn't feel it.
No, it's just him throwing his rubber boots on the bottom. Like, but you don't understand. That has stuck with me my whole life, and I will use that joke or think in my head that joke anytime I see somebody who's short.
You can now use it with me because I can tell you now that I've heavily watched TNA between 2004 and 2007. I didn't watch it after that. I haven't watched it since. But in this country, TNA randomly turned up on a channel that we got. It was called the Wrestling Channel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
It came out of absolute left. It's where people like Osprey have seen it all. It just came out of absolute nowhere. I think it was on Sky. I don't think you could have it. I could be wrong. And I remember watching these people I recognized, like Kevin Nash and Raven and all these. I was like, I know these dudes. What's this TNA thing? And every time I was on Sky, I would always, which is used to be our satellite. Really.
Yeah.
We would, Mr. Murdoch, another one. Yeah, yes, he owns it. I would always flick over to it, hoping that TNA was on, because I tell you what, I never watched anything else on it. I didn't watch any of the other British crap because our wrestling's crap. I didn't watch anything else.
I liked World of Sport. I've seen it. I've searched it out. Yeah, I've searched. I'm from the 80s.
Yeah. Running at each other.
Yes.
That's all we've got. But I remember watching so much of that, and it kind of disappeared around 2006, 2007. I think it got moved to a channel called Challenge, which is where it's the weirdest challenge, right? What is, do you have loads of, you have game shows? Americans love a game show.
Yeah, of course.
We just made a channel.
We have that.
Where we put all the old game shows on. Love it. We
have Game Show TV, the Game Show TV channel.
I love the fact that you guys cannot come with a name for a channel. It has to be what it is. We call it Challenge because we're fun.
Well, we also had G4, which was the video game channel, and that was one of the greatest channels that ever lived. When I was a kid, it was just the greatest. In the mid 2000s, it was just the greatest thing ever.
Do you want me to tell you my favorite channel name in this country?
Yeah.
This is where they lob loads of comedy programs like panel shows and stuff like that. Dave.
Oh, that rules. That rules.
It's literally Dave. And I don't know if you have this in your country. Do you have channels where it's might be an hour later? So you can watch it so instead of it being on at 8 o'clock, like it was live on Channel 4.
No.
On Channel 4 plus 1. So we have a lot of these channels in this country for some reason. We've got plus 1. So it's essentially the same channel, but it's an hour later. So
that's not bad.
8 o'clock, and you can watch it at 9 o'clock on this other channel. It's really weird, right? And Dave has its own hour in the future, right? Or hour and past, I suppose. And it's called Dave Jarvu.
Oh, I like that.
I love the British.
But by the way, if you good channels too, TNA, okay. I think what got me into Twitter 2011 was TNA on this channel, Spike TV, which was the men's channel, if you remember.
Well, didn't Raw used to be on Spike?
Raw, they all switched up. So Raw was on for a bit. They
went back to the USA.
It also was TNN, the Nashville network,
right?
At one point.
ECW did it for
ECW
Raw.
was on TNN, Spike, WWE, and then TNA went to this channel called Destination America, but everybody called it Destination Hee Haw. And let me tell you, Twitter, 2011 was Twitter. And I remember signing up, and it was like me, this WWE Creative account. You know that account, WWE Creative, where they
remember that account.
Yeah. So that account, I would follow that account whatever the night was that TNA was on. And I just remember me and like 30 other people just demolishing TNA on Twitter, making jokes about Angelina Love and how she looks like an old burlesque dancer.
Is that around the time she was being controlled by Katie Lee Burchill? Was there that?
No, that was before Katie Lee Burchill. Before that. Yeah. And like I remember how bad this was, like end of Main Event Mafia, I guess, and like end of Hulk Hogan's reign. But I remember that specifically because TNA was the reason I started having wrestling conversations online with people.
Oh, fantastic.
And if it wasn't for me watching TNA on these shitty channels and then Twitter popping up, who knows how much, I would be stuck watching it by myself.
Exactly. I mean, it's amazing. And then didn't they end up on Pop?
Oh, Pop. That's the other. Yes, on Pop. That was the other one. I can't believe that. I can't believe how many channels take a chance on wrestling. I cannot believe it.
It's a guaranteed thing every week. You don't actually have to put that much money into it.
Right. It's their production. Yep.
Barely even need to advertise it because you know it has an already fan base.
Yep.
It's actually, generally speaking, one of the easiest things you can actually put on. It's live. Live television always does better than non-live television, particularly a sport. It's the cheapest sport you can probably buy that has fan base, let's say. You know, I mean, if you want to put the croquet on, I'm sure you can find the croquet world championship, but I don't think anyone's going to watch it.
No, so that's on Triller, by the way. Triller shows croquet, rugby, and
we don't show croquet.
Women's croquet. You could go on Triller app, and Jayhawk and I love to make jokes about how once GCW finally leaves Triller, you're only going to watch women's croquet on.
I don't think I've ever seen croquet. I think I've only played croquet.
Download the Triller app, people. You want to see that shit? That's what
I spend £5 on wrestling per week. I'm not going to spend any more for croquet. See it that way.
Well, I think I do worse than that.
This month in wrestling, shall we?
Yes. So let's get to it.
Let's kick off, I think, with the fun bit, which is to put you on the spot with your hangover. You're going to have 2 minutes on the clock. For somebody who doesn't watch NXT, I do not watch NXT. You've only got 2 minutes to tell me all the storylines, all of the things that have been happening this month in NXT. You've got 2 minutes on the clock. For those who don't watch NXT, and this is all I'm going to give it every time we do a show. 2 minutes, starting now.
All right, we're going bottom up. The current NXT Tag Team Men's Champions is the Vanity Project. Those guys are the NXT Tag Division is suffering right now. We have very much a black hole of talent. There's no one there in the NXT Tag Division. Vanity Project is carrying that division on their backs. I am honest when I say check out Vanity Project. They have Micah Greenwood. She's just like China. She's amazing. Jackson Drake is the next North American champion who leads that group. Check that out. As we move up the North American title scene, Jackson Drake and Miles Bourne, the Randy Orton disciple, is currently the NXT and North American champion. There is a match next week. There's a feud between Jackson Drake and Tavion Heights, who was also in the BCC, and that was part of Charlie Dempsey's crew at one point. So we are interested in that. Miles Bourne will probably drop the belt to Jackson Drake. The women's North American title scene, Zarya is your new women's North American champion. Beat Tatum Paxley.
I'm going to pause the minute just so I can have a quick rant. I think it's ringside. Those twats who posted about Zarya and Paige, you can piss off. You're disgusting, horrible people.
Oh, I didn't see it, so screw them.
Don't even look at it. I don't want to give them any more. Just Screw you, you're disgusting people, and I hate you. Back to NXT.
Yes, I like that. Yes, so that's my girl. And the night shift has already predicted half of these champions like 3 months ago. I already said Zarya was going to have the belt through the summer. Zarya is your new North American champion. Great American Bash is 3 weeks away. I'm not sure who's going to contend against her for that. And then we get into the main event title scene. Kendall Gray, who is going to be the NXT Women's Champion for the next year. I'm telling you this, she will win the NXT Championship over Lola Vice at the Great American Bash. Lola Vice struggling on the stick. She is not. She is great, but I don't think she is World Championship material. And then in the World Championship scene, people, he's big, he's bad. He'll body slam your dad. Mason Rook and Evil. So you have Mason Rook, you have Evil, and you have Tony D'Angelo all and this dope Cam Hendricks, who I can't stand, who's a very green. But Mason Rook, Evil, and Tony D are the main event scene right now for the world title. Evil, who is now Naraku, is going to be wrestling Tony D at Great American Bash. I assume he will win, and they'll have Mason Rook versus Naraku for the world title somewhere down the line into the fall. That's where we are.
That's a pretty impressive 2 minutes. That's great. I feel like I now know everything that's happening. I really do.
There you go. I try to cover it all the title scenes because the side feuds are not necessary right now. You want to know what's going on in the big scenes.
I do this 2 minutes mainly just to wind up Kyle. Just to you can have 2 minutes of NXT in my month of wrestling.
Listen, I am telling you, if you're sleeping on NXT, you're absolutely out of your mind.
I know.
NXT is awesome.
On AEW, and from the sounds of it, Dynamite's been very entertaining recently.
Yes,
very good to watch. So I've been sleeping on that as well. To be fair, I've heard only good things. I am going to All In. I will be at All In this year for the third year in a row. Well, third time in a row, I suppose. Me and Baby Sam will be at All In. So if anyone is
ticket prices, tell me, what'd you pay for the ticket?
£30.
I mean, that is beautiful. That is amazing.
Don't get me wrong. I'm going to have to use binoculars to see. Who cares? Honestly,
you can't get in the buildings here for under $200 now in America.
Yeah, no, the WWE ones are just as bad, if not worse here. Even our house shows are like 100. But AEW, when they do come here, are super cheap for a normal ticket. They really are. And I think I paid something like 33 to 35, something like that. It's
great
for the overall ticket. And we're literally right down the ramp, right in front of the ramp. So we got a really good view.
What's the main event for that, you think? Is Max?
I'd be so
Max Ospreay?
Don't finally go for Ospreay. Surely they have to be going for Ospreay, but he's stuck in this weird feud with the Dean Ambrose.
With Ambrose. I hate that.
Weird stuff doing all that crap. But we are still 2.5 months away, so I assume they can easily do it. But you would have thought so. I can't see who else they're going to put in the main event against MJF. They want MJF in the main event. MJF will definitely be in the main event, but I'm not sure who they'll go with.
I mean, I think I am not an AEW fan. I am a fan when they come to town. They put on a great show when I'm there. Like I enjoy the inexpensiveness.
I'm a fan of their pay-per-views.
Dude, I told you I
thought failed.
Yes, I was at one that failed. That Worlds Collide pay-per-view where they hot-shotted the belt onto Samoa Joe and Adam Cole was because he was hurt.
To be fair, Worlds Collide I think is their weakest one because I watched Worlds Collide as well and I was bored. I have to admit,
but it was a cheap ticket. It was in the worst building in all of America. It was at the Nassau Coliseum. That is the worst barn you could do. It's a former hockey arena,
which is in the O2 arena, which is a beautiful little arena.
Well, look, so Nassau Coliseum was the place growing up. Like the Islanders played there in hockey. They won 4 Stanley Cups. It was I saw my first wrestling match was there. I saw it there. I saw Ultimate Warrior. I think Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat was there. I saw Hogan. Like there was a ton of guys. That was like my place, right? Now the problem is every venue is 2-tiered, so you go up and down. You have 2 floors. The Nassau Coliseum is the only place left that is 1 floor, and you go in, and if you're in the upper deck, you're going like this straight up. So and there's only 1 concourse. So the line, I am telling you this guy got up at the beginning of the show to go get merch. He didn't come back for an hour and 20 minutes.
Are you going to be running into the same problem with the World Cup? It's going to be a very similar thing. You transport around the areas, Paul. A lot of these seating, like there's not a lot around.
No. I think the venues they're hosting the games in are gorgeous, brand new venues. There are no bad venues in this country that are hosting the World Cup games. Yes, some of the friendlies are in some crappy places, whatever, but all of the World Cup games are in the highest level of buildings that we have.
I didn't mean necessarily the building. I meant like around the building is what I was referring to. Like,
what do you mean by
get into the building?
That's only a problem in New York. That is not a problem in other states. New York, New Jersey suck.
I've never been less interested in a World Cup in my life, and I'm not going to get into why because I think it's kind of obvious. But I was just intrigued. But like, I'm super looking forward to going to it because honestly, the first one was great. The first one felt special.
Yeah.
Wembley. There was a real atmosphere about it. There felt like a real massive community about it as well.
It was an accomplishment. It was an accomplishment to be a part of.
I don't want to say that wrestling fans are the geekiest nerds, but I feel that there was 80,000 geeky weird nerds. Like, I felt like I was the most really attractive, and quite frankly, I'm a 5'8" ginger with outgrowing bad beard. So, not gonna lie, I'm not walking around going Tinder bio for everyone.
I'm always listen, Sam. I'm always the best looking guy at the GCW show. That's it.
The next one clearly wasn't special. They shouldn't have come back the next year, but
you thought they overreached? Did you think they overreached?
Well, it was empty. They can pretend how many people they had in it, but it was empty. There was 50,000 in a 90,000 seater stadium. They borrowed Taylor Swift's staging, so they were able to eliminate like 10,000 seats. The staging was great. Loved the staging, to be fair. It was way better than the year before when they just came out of the dressing rooms, effectively. But yeah, it was definitely empty. But the show was way better the second time as well. Oh my God.
Was that Punk Joe? That was Punk Joe?
No, that was the year before. That was 23. Punk turned up in 23 in WWE. So this is 24. So 24 is Brian Swerve in the main event. And you had the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal thing, which was that AEW overdid, but this was the best one they've ever done. Because, oh my God, the noise for Nigel McGuinness, I cannot explain for you the noise for Nigel McGuinness. No one knew it was going to happen. And Baby Sam is knowledge of wrestling is terrible for someone who hosts a wrestling YouTube channel. He didn't really know who Nigel McGuinness was, but you've never heard someone make more noise for Nigel McGuinness. It felt something. It was a real special night. And I hope that now they've had a year out, didn't fill Texas, and they will pretend they did, but they did not fill Texas the year after. I'm really hoping.
That's me and Nigel from Ring of Honor.
Isn't he just the
2013? Yeah, he's also 2012.
Isn't he also, when you talk to him, he's just so captivating. You just want to listen to him talk.
He waited around for everyone to get a picture in that day, 2012.
Great bloke. Honestly, couldn't ask for a better bloke. Really sad that when he got to WWE, obviously he had the concussion problems and stuff. And he was a great commentator. They messed up by not having him.
Should have left him alone. Yep.
They really should have done. But like this year, I'm a bit worried. They're not filling the tickets quickly. I mean, it is 2 and a bit months away. People might be waiting, but for something like an AEW in Wembley, you would just get it straight away if you wanted to go. So there is an element of, well, we're still 2 months out. I'm not sure. I think you've probably sold the tickets you would have sold. They're definitely more expensive this time than they were the other time before. And AEW isn't anywhere near as hot, particularly in this country, as it was 2 years ago. So I'm a bit worried that it's going to be a little bit empty. However, I'm expecting them to put on the show of the year there. I really am. And I'm really excited for it because right now, the pay-per-views are amazing. And I'm glad we talk about AEW for a bit because we don't usually get to.
Yeah, I'll tell you the problem with AEW's the strategy for the UK, and I think WWE understands it too, and this is not me being just all anti-AEW. You can't go to a building of that size and then try to run it back right away. You have to. That's why WWE
did it with WrestleMania. It's not a WWE. It's not an AEW problem. They just proved it. They
100%
did not work.
Because it wasn't necessary the second time around. But the thing about WWE is when they go to Europe. So I'm only talking on Europe. Yeah. Even when they go back to Europe every year, they do not go to the same cities. They go to different countries, different cities. Instead of going back to Scotland, they do Clash in Italy. Instead of AEW could have probably learned, instead of going back to Wembley, maybe see if Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is open. Maybe see if
I tell you what, that stadium is perfect for wrestling. Oh my god, it's so perfect for wrestling.
My Spurs are the best. I love it.
I'm shocked he hasn't done an event in Fulham. I know
that's
Fulham
what I'm saying. Like,
he could have done a really old-fashioned looking show. That
would look so cool if they put it on the pitch in Fulham.
I'm amazed he hasn't done that.
But so that's the issue. You can't, if you're AEW, you can't go back to the well so fast. You have to split up, and it will make it for more European fans to get excited. Can you imagine if they announced something in Ireland instead or in Scotland instead? It would sell out in 3 seconds.
They are missing a trick with Scotland sell. Scotland sell. They really do. They love wrestling, and I don't think they realize how much they will try. If it's in Manchester or Liverpool, you get a lot of Scottish people turn up.
But WWE, but AEW doesn't realize, like, you go to Scotland then instead. Like, you could still do all or nothing called the UK.
I'm hoping they're finding this out because they did their Christmas show in Manchester, and I think even Tony Khan was like, okay, this is electric. He killed the crowd because you don't do 2 shows in one night, but they were in. It was in Manchester's new-ish.
I know Kine went. He told us. Kine from the network told us how he went and was all excited about it and whatnot when it was in Manchester.
It was a good show, and then they killed the crowd, like, because they kept going because you can't do 3 shows. They have Ring of Honor as well.
Yeah, that's the worst, by the way.
I think they'll go back to places like that. I really do. The problem
I
is
hope
that
so.
I think the issue you've got to run into with the stadium shows is you can't rely to do stadium shows in this country because of the weather. Wembley has a roof. I think people have a roof. I think Twickenham, but that's so close to Wembley anyway in the grand scheme of geography. So I think that's where you run into. I believe Cardiff would be a good shout. Cardiff's Millennium Stadium has a roof. So
WWE did it at Cardiff, didn't they?
As an example, I believe so, yeah. So that would be where I would go. So I think I just want to give a bit of praise to AEW. We can't talk about it too much because me and you aren't watching it as we are. I mean, as much as we, But it's like I'm really looking forward to it. And obviously I will come back and we'll do a big chat about it. What we'll do is we'll try and book in a Transatlantic Pop a couple of days afterwards.
I want to hear about it. Yeah,
we can talk about it. We'll make it a part of the main thing.
Well, so then, but I'll tell you this, and we say we don't. I was a massive Claudio fan for several years, and I honestly,
I got something to talk about him from this month.
he was one of my favorite, even from when he was with the Kings of Wrestling and I was a massive Claudio fan, massive Cesaro fan, just for everything he could do. Now I feel like, what'd you say?
No one can do what he can do.
No, but I figured out, unfortunately, I think as I've gotten older and watched so much wrestling and talked to talent, he just has never connected with the fans the way that I would have loved him to get him over. He never found the sweet spot. And I think LA Knight is the same way. Yeah. We talked about this on the night shift.
But for a different reason.
LA Knight connects verbally. He is presented well, and then his matches are all mediocre. There is nothing I want to watch.
I always say with a wrestler, is there a match you would go back and watch? And people go, well, yeah, but look at how rubbish this wrestler is. And I'll go, name me a wrestler who's rubbish, who was big. And they go, oh, the Ultimate Warrior. And I went, WrestleMania 6, WrestleMania 8 are the two WrestleMania 7, are the 2 best matches on the card. And he's in them. So he can be led, but he's been led to the best match of a WrestleMania. So that's the key here. And I don't think LA Knight has ever had that. And Cesaro's the complete opposite. There are many matches I can refer to watch from Cesaro. But if you said, where's that killer promo? Where's that killer angle that he was in that he really did? Like, don't have it, really. And that's always been the issue with Claudio. I mean, honestly, he may be technically the best wrestler ever. If
he's
you really
great.
broke it down, if he was able to have Bret Hart's natural charisma, even though he couldn't talk for toffee, or if he was to have something like John Cena's just die-hard attitude that can captivate kids, or I'm not even picking people like The Rock and Stone Cold who had something a different level, or Hogan a different level. If he just had something that was so Daniel Bryan, just that underdog feel that you can't capture because of who he is, he would have been in the conversation for greatest wrestlers of all time. And I really mean that, because I think he's better than Brett. I really do. I think he's way better than Brett. I think he's better than so many people that people go, these are the best wrestlers. I think he's in that conversation. And I'm really sad. But you have to admit that AEW haven't given him a go, though. They've done exactly what WWE did. Where was his main event feud for the world title? All that stuff. You can't go, oh, he's been Ring of Honor world champion. Couldn't care.
No.
That's an NXT title. Let's be honest here. That's the same equivalence to me as winning the... Always been the CMLL champion. AAA champion is Dominic Mysterio. It means nothing. Sorry. It doesn't. Yep. Put him in the main event feud. Even if he just has a pay-per-view main eventing, you tell me he wouldn't deliver? He would.
He would but here's the thing: you can't build the feud with him on the mic, so it kind of ruins. And I didn't realize that. I was very stubborn because I was like, this guy needs to be pushed. I don't give a shit. Like, he needs to be pushed. And when they gave him Heyman, I was like, okay. When they were the bar, that was great, but Sheamus really covered up.
Let's just quickly talk about the Heyman thing, because that was a lie. Because they gave him Heyman so that Heyman can stay on TV because Brock had just beaten The Undertaker, and it was just there so he can repeat 21-1 over and over and over again. It actually hurt Cesaro, and who was now a babyface, but aligned with a heel, so he had to stay a heel, even though he was getting complete mess. So that actually is the reason he didn't get pushed after that, because they gave him Heyman. He actually would have been better without Heyman at that point.
I think he found his niche, but I think he found his niche with the bar, and the bar was great. And I think Sheamus covered up with the mic because Sheamus can talk.
Is he one of, if not the most underrated wrestlers of all time?
Oh, by far.
Because he's awesome.
Do you remember? So let's go to there. So do you remember his debut it was ECW, right?
Yes.
So there could not have been anyone hotter winning the title, doing what he did, who I honestly, when he would come out, I would go, holy crap, Sheamus isn't losing again. Like, this jacked, Irish dude's going to come out and whoop everyone. And you know what? I really think you're right. He had some run for about 6-7 years where he was the world champion. He was, people soured on him just because I think they don't like being shoved down their throat. But he was very underrated.
He got the Cena treatment as a babyface. And he was the number 2 babyface for a while. I think people forget that Sheamus at one point was probably the number 2 babyface in the company. Yes. And ironically, I think he became a much better wrestler when he became almost a mid-card wrestler. Like, now, if you give him 20 minutes, he's going to deliver match of the night.
But he's my age now. That's the problem. So
no, he doesn't. He does look it though, does he? He does not look it. Oh my god! I know he's got a neck problem, so that's probably why they're not giving him. And he clearly has injury problems coming out of the wazoo. So,
but a fascinating guy, by the way, Sam. If you would know, because his route to WWE, he was an older talent. Like I know he was with Drew and all these guys, but what a fascinating. You're right about him. Very underrated. A world champion multiple times over. And I still don't think today, if you ask people to name some really good WWE champions, no one's naming Sheamus, and you probably should.
They probably should. They really could. But you know what? I'm really glad. I don't know. This is not planned.
Right.
But I've got this written down, and we're probably going to do this after we talk about the month of wrestling.
Okay.
Because this is more outside of what's happened in ring, but I'm going to do it now. You've mentioned Sheamus. You've mentioned Cesaro. I'm going to throw Nakamura and Lars Sullivan, which was supposedly meant to be the new NWO.
I heard about that. Oh my! Kyle and I talked about this on the night shift one night. I can't even believe that. I can't believe how that would even be the NWO.
Why would they say? I don't believe this story for a fact, right? I think this is nonsense. I think maybe they were going to be a group. Like, I have no problem being a group. I mean, Cesaro and Nakamura were already in a group with they were like the Art Collective or something with Sami Zayn. So they were already doing a version of this anyway, and that was in COVID. So I just don't get I don't know where someone's made this up as a joke and it's been ran with 100%. But I want to pretend that it's real. And they're calling it NWO. So let's go for it. So let's say the NWO is Hall, Hogan, and Nash, and we need a fourth. And I'm going to go with X-Pac. Who's who? Let's go with it. So you've got Sheamus, Cesaro, Lars Sullivan. Who's Hulk Hogan to kick off with? Who's the brother? Who's winning everything?
The problem is...
Answer my question, damn it. Don't filibuster.
These are 4 Scott Nortons. There is nothing else like
The disciple.
That's all it is. There's four Terry Hogans or whatever that guy, Horace Hogan's. Like
Hogan.
It's not. Okay, all right. So Hogan would be Sheamus.
Yeah, that's the easy one.
Kevin Nash would have to be Cesaro because you want two guys who are going to take control. And then Nakamura would be Scott Hall, and Lars Sullivan.
Lars Sullivan is ex.
I have to put him somewhere. You didn't give me a choice. He's got to go somewhere. Where do you put him?
I can make him the Giant. How about that? He can be the Giant.
Look, in all transparency, I really liked Lars Sullivan for about 3 months in NXT.
For a cup of coffee, Lars Sullivan was actually.
You know who worked really well with him? The Velveteen Dream.
Yes, he did. Which is a real shame. There's another person who can't not be a dick.
I mean, look, can you imagine remember how red hot that was? It a ladder match at NXT where it was Ricochet, Velveteen Dream, Lars Sullivan, EC3.
I get asked that match a lot in my Challenge Me at Wrestling Trivia question. Who was in the North American title ladder match? And I've never seen it. But I know
that was a great match. It was one of my favorite. But if you go back to the NWO, can I not make him X-Pac and you make him like Macho Man, then it would have that like the hurt, like old broken down Macho Man, then I'll give it to Lars Sullivan. But I can't even believe that if it was ever true, it would make there was no connection. There's no thread that you could show me that in any world that 4-man group would connect with an audience ever.
I love it so much.
Can you imagine Lars Sullivan coming out in an NWO t-shirt? Never.
I think he would somehow catch fire. Honestly, it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. He's talking about you couldn't even make the original NWO work in 2002, and you think you're going to make these 4?
Well, I can't. And my mind almost breaks. Like it almost feels like my brain twisted because I'm like, what's the thread? Like, how would this even work? And if you're writing
playing 2K20, said this out loud as a joke, and it's been someone's gone on a run with it.
If I was in the WWE writers' room, right, and you came to me and were like, "This is the plan," and they're like, "Write a feud," my eyes would cross, and I would just be looking at this paper, going, "Are you sure you're right? Is this what we're doing?" Like, there's no way. I don't know how you would even write for that. How would you write for those 4?
That is up there with somebody wrote that down, like the one that I remember of somebody wrote that down was, do you remember the original Heidenreich story?
Where he molested Michael Cole?
No, before he's re-debuted, the original story was he was going to be a German soldier.
Oh, right.
In
Vince was obsessed with getting a German soldier out there with Gunther.
Vince was the one going. Vince heard this. A writer said,
that's right. Did he fire somebody for it or something?
No, he just stood up and walked out, and that he was gone for the rest of the day. And I meant the only time I think I've ever respected Vince when it comes to creative. And he just the guy went, he's going to be in ice, and Paul Heyman, the Jewish person, is going to be his manager. And it's just he's going to goose step to the ring, and the guy's like, ha, and it's just like Vince just listens to this and then just goes. I just love that image. That's the one I think of. But I think Lars Sullivan, Nakamura, Cesaro, and Sheamus being the NWO, I think that's definitely up there.
Whoever watches this show, whoever is watching right now because we are taped, but whoever's watching, in the comments, somebody try to thread them together. I need a story. Somebody, or tweet us, whatever. I need to know how those 4 give me I want a story. I want a long-term booking. Book them somehow with NW. Book it. Show me how that would ever work. Because I can't. My head hurts. It hurts.
Speaking of head hurt, should we talk about the thing that blew the internet's mind a couple of weeks ago, which was Brock Lesnar beating Oba Femi? It was a lot of news. Yep. We've let it sit for a couple of weeks so we could talk about it. What was your initial take and your kind of now take about it? Because I have very strong opinions and I have voiced them on my channel. What do you feel?
Initially, I say, initially I was like, fuck this. Like I did not like it. I didn't understand it. you can't. Okay, if you're going to do a Brock retirement match at SummerSlam because it's Minnesota and he's going to lose to Oba, or he's going to beat Oba, you have not accomplished anything. You have absolutely thrown out the window what you were doing with Oba Femi.
Is it weird that just on that point, I already massively disagree?
That's fine. I can't wait to hear it. I am just saying, but you said now after a while, what do you think? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking he looked great. That's fine for Oba. He may win King of the Ring. He may not. My problem is if he doesn't and Brock costs him another match, that's 2 losses on his ledger. The guy is supposed to be, I thought, and I still think he's going to be world champion in the next 6 months, but I don't understand. I mean, I could see Brock losing on his way out. I would understand Brock's like, yeah, I want to put him over on my way out.
Brock will lose.
So doing the right thing is key in that. But it just felt so rushed. Like you just, then don't put your stuff in the ring at the end of WrestleMania.
You know what? So here's the thing. The only thing I'm confused about is the WrestleMania. Yeah. That does still confuse me. I am still a little unsure. I don't know if they were just trying to do it for a misdirection. WWE at the moment love a misdirection. So let's just go with they planned a misdirection.
Okay.
Brock Luke beating Oba, I think, is such a fantastic decision long term. It really is. I'm not thinking necessarily in the immediacy. I'm thinking the long term. First of all, you've got the obvious wrestling, particularly WWE trope of 2 and 1. You know, one guy wins 2-1, they get blah, blah, blah. They have 3 matches, whatever. You can throw that, whatever you want.
Best of 3 nonsense, yes.
Whatever. You can throw that at the wall if you want. But there's the 2 main things to come out of this, right, that I think are actually the beneficial. And they're kind of the same point. When you have people who are one of 2 things, if not both, and Oba is going to fall into both categories here, a monster and an undefeated wrestler, and he falls into both categories, you end up booking yourself into a corner. When you've got someone who's a monster, think about your people like Kane and your Braun Strowmans and people like that. Eventually, they have to lose. And because they've gone on this long run of winning and dominating and all that jazz, then when they lose, it doesn't feel right because you're either talking about who's going to beat them first and it kind of takes away from them, or when they do lose, it's always in maybe a screwy finish and you have to keep looking for screwy finishes, or even DQs and count-outs start happening and it becomes less interesting, or the crowd turn on them because they suddenly can't stop winning, and that's a modern trend at the moment, like sort of thing. But I'll refer you to Goldberg. Goldberg dominated for 167, and I hate people who keep mentioning the Goldberg ones. I'm like, stop trying to recreate stuff. Do something new. But what happened the minute Goldberg lost that match? He was never there again. Literally never got there ever again because it really was, right? Because he had this big long thing, and then once you've lost, and it was again in screwy, it became an issue. But let me stop real quick. It was the way he lost. If he didn't lose by cattle prod, he would have been fine. That there would have been there's more intelligent booking. And I will get to that as well, right?
Okay.
I do think that makes a difference as well, because they have to do screwy finishes to make you still look strong, right? So with this thing, first of all, it gets rid of the Oba's lost thing. It gets rid of that. It now means he's been humanized, but in a good way. Because if you're always this undefeated monster, you will lose that shine because you can't keep that shine. Kane is the best example of that, right? Kane lost that shine once he lost the monster who couldn't be slain type thing. Once you've lost that, Braun Strowman is another one. Once you've lost that moniker, you lose everything. But if you're already someone who has lost, then there's an element of every match. Suddenly there's like, oh, they could lose this match because they have already lost. The doubt has disappeared.
That's amazing.
The doubt has turned up there. There's no longer the Brock wins this match, Oba wins this match. There's no longer that. There's an element of, oh, Oba could lose this. But also the way he lost showed how much you have to do to beat him. Clean win, again, was the best decision. And it wasn't that clean because Brock did attack him before the bell. Remember that too. That makes a difference. So because he's lost clean, but it took 1,000 million F5s. It took through a table, which he just stood up and walked straight in, looked incredible. Oba looked better losing that match than he would have done if he went 2-0 beating Brock. I really believe that in the long run, Oba winning going, Oba winning wouldn't have helped him. Along with Oba losing and looking like such a monster, I think what would have helped him is if everyone didn't stop kicking out of finishers. Could you imagine if finishers were protected and then he went and did that? Think how amazing it would have been then. But no. Think about when Undertaker Kane, WrestleMania 14, he hit him with 3 tombstones. No one had ever kicked out the tombstone and kicked out of 2 of them. Took a third one to beat him.
The most protected finish ever, remember? What's the most protected? What's the most protected finish after that ever? What was the one?
There's 2 that I believe I've had 1 kick out. You've got the Razor's Edge from Scott Hall. And the 3D from the Dudleys, I believe, has had 1 kick out each.
No.
But someone must be on 0, surely.
The most ridiculous protected finish ever was the End of Days from Baron Corbin.
That's got 1 now as well.
1.
Yeah.
No. Are you telling me that we protected Baron Corbin's finish more than we protected the F5 and things like that? Yes.
I will say this, though. I don't know if anyone knows that on our channel, we do the power rankings video. We do it once every 2 weeks. We take a wrestler, female wrestler, a tag team wrestler, and we score them out of 10 in 10 different wrestling categories. So we've got a giant overall leaderboard. We're looking for the greatest overall wrestler of all time. And you'd be surprised who's up high on the leaderboard and who's low. Because when you're looking at everything from wrestling ability, storytelling, promo, look, heel work, face work, are they over? Because you can be over and be crap. Do they have a good gimmick, personality? We marked everything. And the last thing we mark is their finisher, because we think the finisher is one of the most important things a wrestler can have. End of Day's got a 10 out of 10 for us. We friggin' love the finisher. So if there was ever going to be one that's going to be protected, I am happy for it to be the End of Days.
Well, can I tell you, you've sold me on the Oba loss. Yeah. I just now, let's see it executed to the end, because
this is now the key. If now Oba is now booked strongly, if it was me, this is generally how I would book it. This is generally what I would do. Oba is winning King of the Ring. I'm going to make that clear. I would have Oba win King of the Ring, and then I would have him beat Brock and win the World Championship at SummerSlam. You've got 2 nights, main events both nights, and he literally. Everyone goes, "Oh, you've been booked." Wait, if you do that, it would help me. The Brock loss would be even better, and suddenly he's catapulted into the main event scene. I don't think you can dick about with Oba and have him be Intercontinental Champion and all that jazz. I don't think you can bother with him beating mid-carders. I think someone who looks like that. Look how quickly Brock got to the main event. He turned up in March, and by August he was champion.
Yeah, but they never made anybody like him ever and ever again.
That's my point. And Oba is the first person, I think, who you could categorically link to Brock. Hence why him losing. And if Oba's going to lose a match, Brock Lesnar is the person to lose it to. It's Brock Lesnar. We've all suddenly kind of just forgotten who Brock Lesnar was.
Right.
Because we're now massively into Oba. Like, Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar. He is the final boss. He was the guy who was champion for 500 days. No one could beat. It's fine to lose to Brock. Cody lost to Brock.
Yeah.
When Cody was at his hottest. It's fine. This will work out, provided you're right, they do the booking. I personally think they should do King of the Ring and SummerSlam. I really do, because you're right. If Oba gets screwy lost, I think Oba makes the final. I believe the semi-final is tonight against Dom. I think that's tonight, I believe. Top of my head. I think it is. I think the semi-finals have happened, but haven't happened for us yet. The other quarterfinals. I think that's SmackDown in 3 days ago, but 2 days in the future for us, or tomorrow for us. So I think because I think they do a lot of them on Raw. So I think Oba Dom is on Raw tonight. I think Oba wins that, and I think he will be going to Night of Champions in the final. It's just more, does they screw him over there? Because they've taken out all the people who probably you thought would have won in Braun and Seth.
So
because they're gone, you assume that would then lead to Oba Femi, probably.
Well, if they gave it to Dom Mysterio, it would be absolutely insufferable with him, and I would actually not hate it. But
I don't think Dom would.
Dom's not getting a clean win over Oba Femi. Dom is not getting a clean win over.
Well, that's where Brock might turn up, and it might be Brock turning up because Oba did talk about Brock last week on Raw, saying he's running away and all that.
Right.
So there is definitely going to be a Brock thing, but I would do it. I think go for the jugular. Let's have him do. You've got 2 nights. His match with Brock is not going to go long. It'll be another 8 minutes. He'll be fine, and then he can go and have a 20-minute match with Roman, and it'd be great. And go for it. Why not go for it? SummerSlam as well, very similar to Brock. Try and almost have that beautiful bit of symmetry, and I think that would really work. So,
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I like it. I'm with you. I'm as I said before, though, the key is how it's booked at SummerSlam. If it's booked right, you're on your way. You got your new star. You're on your way. If it's booked wrong, you have done what you've done in times before and have destroyed a talent that could be your next champion, and you're going to still saddle me with another 7 months of bloodline BS that I am just I am so tired of the Usos.
I was going to ask you about the bloodline.
I'm so tired of the Usos. I'm so tired. Jacob Fatu, just get on your own. Break away. Like,
fine. He was doing fine.
I love Solo Sikoa, by the way, on his own. Love him.
Yeah,
let him be.
Isn't it been great? He's been able to open up and be funny and have a lark. I mean,
he's never going to be world champion.
NFT is awful.
he's never going to be world champion, and that's fine.
He's a mid-carder.
Right.
That's fine.
And that's fine. Stop trying to shoehorn the Usos who I just stop. I loved them as a tag team years ago. After WrestleMania, the shine was off the rose. And then after when they two of them wrestled, which I thought was going to be the best match ever, and it was the worst.
Oh, it was bad. It was my number one worst thing of the year.
And after he lost to beat Gunther, I had enough. And the intro's funny, but you're a mid-carder now. Enough. Roman Reigns, enough with the bloodline.
Let's say you're going to do bloodline. Quick on. Do you know what? Go for it. Booker it. Go for it. Don't do it around the world title, please. It doesn't need it.
Yeah.
If you're going to do bloodline, have it be like the Undertaker's streak. And I don't mean the level. I'm talking the idea. The Undertaker streak very rarely had the world title a part of it. You know, WrestleMania 24 is pretty much the only time the streak had the world title when it became a proper streak thing. Okay, so from like WrestleMania 13 onwards, have it separate. The bloodline is a separate story on Raw. Fine, I don't care, but fine, do that. Have the world title be completely separate. Let it be separate. Let it do that. The only I just don't see who else is winning King of the Ring on that side. Because I know we haven't seen the last quarterfinalist. We actually don't know who the last quarterfinalist is. I hope it's Finn Balor. That was who I hope they go with. I think Finn Balor winning King of the Ring is also a fantastic shout. If they decide to go with someone like Finn Balor, you could do, Finn and Dom if Brock cost Dom. And Finn Balor going against Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, I think would be great. Or even Finn versus Gunther for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. Have Gunther beat Cody at maybe Night of Champions or something like that. I think that would be really good, but I don't see that.
Did you watch the Night Shift the night that we went off on WWE tournaments? I
have seen bits of this, yes.
So I'm going to tell you my thoughts again for everyone who might not have heard. WWE, their tournaments are worthless. King of the Ring is worthless. No one gets over the fact that instead of doing singles tournaments, you did fatal four-ways. I hate when they do that. I hate it. It's not a tournament when you make 4 fatal four-ways and then turn them into 3 matches after. I don't appreciate that. I said AEW's tournaments, every match means something. They are all-star making performances. WWE's tournaments are horrible. This tournament is meaningless. It's meaningless. It doesn't matter. No one gets over, Sam. Nobody.
This tournament because they're calling it King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring. In my eyes, King of the Ring is an endurance thing.
You're supposed to do it in one night. It should be a pay-per-view.
One night, or at least the quarterfinal, semi-final, final. I can even just about accept semi-final and final. I can just about accept it. When I say just, I'm like, fine. Little toddler who's finally decided to have broccoli. Fine, okay? Do semi-final, final. Fine, I'll accept it. Quarterfinal, semi-final, final. I understand why Vince went away from it because tournaments don't do well. They never really have, bar the Deadly Games. It's the only one that did well on pay-per-view, so I get it. I understand it. Why not just call it the number one contender for SummerSlam and it's the thing you do every year? Or call it a different name. Call it the Gold Rush tournament like they did 20 years ago. Give it a name and do a King of the Ring.
How about you just don't do tournaments anymore because you can't do them? No one gets over. Nobody. Xavier Woods.
It's the men and the women's disproportionateness. Men get 20 minutes in some cases, unless Oba's in the match, then it's 9, and the women are getting like 9 minutes. 8 minutes.
And who does it help? Zelina Vega helped nobody. Nia Jax helped nobody. Xavier Woods helped nobody. There is nothing since Austin 316 that has meant anything in a King of the Ring tournament. Nobody. Everyone gets straddled with some stupid crown that they make on their own. So you got Sheamus, you got Baron Corbin.
They have got rid of that, thankfully. So they got rid of that at least.
It's so dumb. And it nobody gets over. You're supposed to be building stars out of this. King of the Ring's supposed to mean something. No one gets over. It's the same horse shit.
This is my point. They've now saddled it with SummerSlam, which means now, like I used to say to people, the Royal Rumble, everyone keeps going, why aren't they picking a new person to win the Royal Rumble? Like, because they're going to the main event of WrestleMania. You need the main event to have the stars in it. And I'm sat there going, Stone Cold won it in 98 and 2001. The Rock won it in 2000. What are you on about? The biggest of the biggest stars.
Yeah,
and they did a shock in 99.
The most surprise, though, Nakamura winning the Rumble was super surprising.
As an example, right? And didn't main event.
But it didn't. And where did it get him? Nowhere. No. Nobody gets over in these things.
No, so that's why you should have your main eventers. So now that they're doing King of the Ring is going towards SummerSlam, main eventers are winning this. Cody's won it. Gunther won it. I mean, the women have had a little bit of shine. I disagree. Nia Jax got a world title after it had a run. Jade Cargill then got into the main event picture for the first time. But they weren't because of that. It wasn't because of that. And they weren't remembering that tournament. And it's because they're not doing it in one night. That's literally it. Yeah. If you just do a tournament as a number one contendership, no one's going to remember that tournament. But if you do a tournament that has a massive crowning thing, and the to win it is to win it, the Owen Hart is an example. You win that, you've won the Owen Hart. That's what it feels like. King of the Ring used to be you won King of the Ring. You didn't get anything. You were just the King of the Ring because
Owen Hart.
Yeah, won that as well, 94. And so, that's what it is. So I don't mind the SummerSlam winner. I actually think it's good. It means there's a reason to win it at least, instead of it just at least it's not no one gets over, but they get nothing. At least they get something, at least. But these King of the Ring tournaments, and let's just throw one last complaint on there, and everyone can explain it to me, and I'm going to tell them to get Rogered. Why is Liv Morgan in this tournament?
That's what Kyle keeps saying. Why is a champion who you're supposed to be wrestling for the title in the tournament? It makes no sense. I
think personally, genuinely, this is where forward planning should have come in, right? I think Liv Morgan should win it. And then I think Liv Morgan should pick herself and have a match with herself at SummerSlam, but it's like a 10-minute look at me. And sadly, you've got no one with the money in the bank cashing. Could you imagine that? A returning money. This is where, think of storylines. I don't feel that WWE actually sit down and go, what's the end goal of a thing? What's the point? I feel like they've got this great story start. How many stories at WWE in the last 2 years since the WrestleMania 40 have you gone, that's a good start. Oh, okay, we're off to a start. Oh, these two together. Yes. And then they just drift, or they do it forever, or even opposite, they don't get there. And you're like, why are we doing this?
Well, look, an example would be NXT with Sol Ruca and Zarya. They were supposed to come to a crescendo at that Stand and Deliver, and for a title. Instead, they did that Last Man Standing 3 weeks later, and you were already worn out by the fact that you waited too long.
The song had already gone.
Right, you waited too long to do anything, and it just suffers. And their long-term feuding and booking has never been good. And now you're putting on top of it that you can't book a tournament, so long-term booking doesn't make sense. You don't know how to book a tournament, so no one's getting over it. So you don't have any idea what SummerSlam's supposed to be. I mean, you have 2 months. I got to see you build something.
Yeah, I agree. Do you know who I am excited for? And I know I'm wrong to be excited, because I know I'm going to be. Because the thing about being a WWE fan, it is like being in an abusive relationship. Let's be honest here. We all know this. You know, we all expect something and then we never get given it or whatever. Even if we don't mind to be given eventually, we don't get given it. So I'm going to have my hopes dashed, but I'm going to go and put my hopes here nice and high for you to tell me it's not happening. All right? I'm ready for you to tell me it's not happening. I am excited right now for Chad Gable. It's not happening, but I am excited for Chad. The pop he got on SmackDown was enormous. I love this apology. Roman Reigns has never done this much character development. He still hasn't. I still don't understand the Roman Reigns character. Is he a babyface? He still look like he's acting like a heel to me. Is it just because he's being cheered? That's not how it works. You still need a character change. Chad Gable being a babyface. Hopefully they keep him on SmackDown. I know he was on Raw and SmackDown. Put him on SmackDown. SmackDown needs the balance to be shifted, and they're slowly getting there. Gunther being moved over, Finn Balor being moved over, put Chad Gable there as well. And I think SmackDown suddenly looks like newer people main event scene over there. Looks exciting. I think LA Knight shouldn't have moved. LA Knight was doing way better on SmackDown than he did on Raw. I'm excited for them to do Chad Gable. They're not going to.
No, they're not going to. And the problem is this: the main event title scene, and I think this is a writer's issue, is that these fucking morons have booked the main event scene in in your country you have those big metal poles that come up from the ground to stop people from driving through.
Yes.
Okay, so they have put those up around the main event scene on both shows, and there is no way for anyone to get. They have blocked out everyone else. They're like, okay, you two get in here, and we have no clue how to book anyone else. We don't have anywhere else to say what to do with our main event scene. You're never getting through this stanchion. This is up. You're never getting through. We're not changing the title over. We get too afraid. We don't know how to book anybody with Roman Reigns.
I'm going to disagree slightly and agree. We grew up, me and you, with main event, mid-card, lower card, jobber.
Right.
That's what we grew up with.
Right.
And then as time went on, you could argue it went main event, upper mid-card, lower mid-card, jobber. They threw in a new kind of section, didn't they?
Right.
People every now and then might get a pay-per-view match for the title, but they were never winning the title.
Right.
Even if they might have won the title, but they weren't getting it for long. Your Dolph Ziggler's, your Kofi Kingston's. People like that. They bounced.
Right.
They've now changed it again. Megastars, main eventers, upper mid-carders. That right now, WWE have one of the most stacked main eventers they've ever had. If this would have been 10 years ago, you're having main event matches coming out of the wazoo. The problem is they've taken Cody and Roman and put them two, and you could even throw CM Punk in slightly, I think, maybe there as well. Mm-hmm. They put those 2 to 3 above the main eventers. And they're not taking them with them is the problem. So I think they've got so many main eventers. You can keep naming people who went, if you put the title on them, I wouldn't be sat there going, they're not a main event.
Right, but the scene is booked. They blocked you out. You're right.
That's my point. Because they created this new thing above, it feels now that, because I don't think they blocked them out. I think because they created this new thing, they now can't do anything with it. I think if they literally just dragged these two away from the world title scene, but had them doing their own feuds, and they could still be the main event feuds. It really could be. And you could build this main event scene of world titleness without them. I think it would work. But because right now, they are both the champions, no one's on their level. And it doesn't feel like they are. Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns just felt so disproportionate to me.
Yeah.
And I see Jacob as the upper mid card. I don't see him as the main eventer yet.
Right.
But you got to go through that one to get to that one.
Right.
Same for Bron Breakker. I think he's there as well, ready to go, ready to be a main eventer. But you look at Seth Rollins. Put Seth Rollins against Roman Reigns right now. I don't even think those two feel equal, as it were. I feel like the only people who can beat Roman Reigns right now are a CM Punk, a Cody Rhodes, or if they go for it, Oba Femi. But that's Oba Femi just to take the title away, not to go on the level.
Right. He won't be the star. They'll still go, well, if this doesn't work out in the next 2 weeks, we're just going to put it right back on Roman. That's the problem. They have writers who do not know how to write anything but Roman and Cody in the main event. The mid card is filled with talent.
So much talent.
King of the Ring should have been all the mid card.
You shoot it. Cody was the one who said, I'll drop the title to Drew. Give it to Drew. Cody was the one. Cody was meant to be champion all the way through that. Everyone was complaining, going, why is Drew dropping the title? I'm like, just be happy Drew got it in the first place, because from the sound of it, they weren't giving it to him. So Cody wanted Drew to have the title at WrestlePalooza, let alone the first night of 2026 on SmackDown. So it just shows you that even Cody's the one, I think.
They have when we speak it out, they have some really bad writers. And really bad. And no one is a wrestling mind, you can tell, in the writer's room.
They feel like Hollywood writers.
Yeah, it's stupid because it doesn't work. But by the way, speaking of Hollywood, I just want to get this out before I forget. Tonight, which is Thursday night, but you'll be next week, my movie, Disclosure Day, the Steven Spielberg movie that I was in, is out. I'm going to see it tonight, and there's a scene that I'm in. It is a wrestling scene, okay? Really? And so what they did was they transformed this theater by me into a wrestling arena, and it was Brian Cage versus Lance Archer with Chavo Guerrero as the referee. And
is that where that clip came from? Oh, I've seen this.
Oh, okay, because I haven't seen it yet, but I am next to the stars in the handoff scene. So I'm going tonight to see it. And if I am in the movie,
I was about to be really pissed off with you because I'm a professional actor with an agent and everything.
I sent in headshots and everything.
I was like,
right.
Piss off.
You will refer to me after this show as Oscar award-winning actor, and so I am in that. So
is the advertisement the same in America as it is in the UK? Because in the UK right now they're barely showing the movie.
They're not. Spielberg said he
with Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, he said he won't show any of the second half of the movie in the trailer, and that's great.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
love it. Massive fan of that.
I can't wait.
How big we see Steven Spielberg that he's the advert.
He was right next to me, dude. Nicest guy. He directs with an unlit cigar and he chomps it the whole time. Like it is cash money.
He's my favorite director and director of my favorite movie, so it's going to be.
I hope you guys all see it. Speaking of Hollywood writers, because I am in that. There's a scene. I am hopeful that you will see me. I'm right next to these guys. So let's. You know who I was sitting next to, by the way? You want something crazy? Crazy. The head of Atlas Security from ECW.
What?
Yep, I have his phone number in my phone.
Wow, that's so weird.
Said, yeah. So his name was is Joe, and he sent me him and Ronnie Lang were the head of ECW. Sent me his business card while we were sitting next to each other, and he's like, "This is the old ECW business card." And he was also working AEW for a while, and they pushed him out.
So he's Joe Atlas. So can we call him Jay Atlas? Can he be?
No, he's not. He's Atlas is just the name of the company. Joe.
Can we call him Jay Atlas?
We could. And so he told me all about how his partner pushed him out and took over AEW's security because they were doing AEW when it first started, and so he got pushed out. But I sat next to him. Isn't that crazy? Like. I don't even know how it started, like how we started talking, but we were at a wrestling match. We started talking about wrestling. So
I love it. I love that.
Yeah. So
I love that more than talking about Raw's writing right now.
Which is horrible. We'll still talk about it.
Raw and SmackDown actually are okay in the mid-card sort of era. There's like Raw's mid-card right now is actually surprisingly entertaining. You know, you Ethan Page, Rusev, Rey Mysterio, Penta, all good stuff. All good stuff.
Yeah.
Javon Evans, not sure if he's going to work with him doing what he's doing, but crack on. Let's go for it. Why not? Give him some character because he has none. So that could be something. Yeah. I'm liking the women's division, but I still feel there's an issue with how it's being portrayed. I think in the main event scene, but they've got like so many talented women. I think we're all probably in agreement that Io Sky is probably going to win Queen of the Ring. I think we're all. So
by the way, you said this. We talked about this on the night shift too. You said that about the women's division, and I want to say, watching Kendall Gray and Kalani Jordan on NXT the other night, knowing that they can go 20 minutes and wrestle an outstanding style match, I honestly think, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I honestly think they throttle back the women's matches on SmackDown and Raw when you can actually. There is so much talent.
They should be right now. They should be main eventing the shows.
Yes,
their talent is. I've never seen a group of women in wrestling right now that is as good as WWE have, and even AEW are finally just starting to get there. I mean, it feels like it took them a long time to realize women's wrestling is a good thing.
They have a terrible women's division, AEW. I'm sorry.
They always have, but
terrible.
It's better than it was. Let's give it
Megan Bain and Lena Cross are my two favorites, and that's it. I only want them on TV every week.
But, like, I'm excited to see what they do with Blake. I think that could be interesting.
But you got to let her wrestle. You got to. The thing is, the reason why
they need to wrestle. You're right. That's what I'm saying. If her biggest thing is wrestling, but they see her as a character. And I'm like, she's a great character, which is why if you pair it with her wrestling, you're talking about a main event level talent. I just don't understand how you've got someone as big as Rhea Ripley. And do you know what? You can even bugger it and say Liv Morgan, because Liv Morgan's getting that popularity. Io Sky is another one.
Yeah.
Who can easily, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair. These people who are main event level talent put them in the main event of pay-per-view, it'll be fine. Just give them a story. Let's give them a main event.
How about you do like NXT does? The main event of the show is the women's match. Why does every Raw and SmackDown have to end with something stupid? Have it end. Give me Blake versus JC Jane. JC Jane should be the women's champ and Blake should be chasing, or vice versa, or something. Give me something to work on every week.
I think JC Jane, you could have actually shot her straight into the world title picture. I know that's not great. I know that's not great because the problem I actually have with the women's division there's actually I can see this is probably what WWE's problem is. They don't have enough, but now they've got a mid-card title, which means they have now, for the first time in their entire life, created a main event and a mid-card section. Back when I grew up, any woman could go for the world title. You just had to be a woman. Really.
They only had 3. That's why.
Exactly my point. Now you can't do that, which now means it feels like there are hardly any women who they feel are in that main event picture, whereas I grew up, anyone could be the women's champion. And that's a good and a bad thing. But it's a bad thing because I feel that no one is jumping up. Everyone has been placed in that position. Yep. And no one's there because they're not doing the matches or storylines. They just come out, do a match. It's 7 or 8 minutes, and then they go. And I feel like everyone is just being told to stay where you are. And it's really hurting. And it's hurting people like Tiffany Stratton, for example, got put into the main event scene. They went, you're a main eventer. But because they hadn't given her that build-up, because they didn't give her that story, had a little story with Nia Jax and the Money in the Bank, she then fell off a cliff because she was booked wrong, her character was wrong, and now she's really struggling.
Well, they brought up Julia. They brought Julia in. They ruined her from the very beginning in NXT. They demolished her career by having her lose to Roxanne the very first match. And that was the end. She couldn't speak, so she can't talk to get herself out of it, to get the fans hyped. And
Kiana Jane's got herself more over because of her partnership with Julia. It worked for her more than it did for Julia. I love Kiana James, by the way. I think she's great.
I think it is an absolute travesty what they did to Julia. Stephanie Vaquer, of course, I also don't think she was booked properly when she came up on the main.
She should have been the women's intercontinental champion, dominating, and then you could have easily set her at the main event. But it just showed you the mid-card. Lara Valkyria, I think, is one of the best women's wrestlers in WWE.
She's good.
I think as a wrestler, character, awful. But as a wrestler...
I don't get the character, yes.
She has no character. She's awful. Right. You can't talk for Toffee. She's one of the worst talkers.
You can't have a last name of Valkyria and not feel some sort of character. Instead, it's like...
It's all aesthetic. It's all aesthetic. Her wrestling is phenomenal.
Yes.
She has this great run as an IC title, has a really good feud with Becky. I think it was a great feud. It was the best talking she did do was with Becky. And then back you go.
It's the writers. The writers again. They have no idea. They don't know how to book. Once they clear a feud, they have no idea what. They just push that person away, and then they're like on to the next. And it's not. That's not writing.
I really thought, and I don't. There's only so much you can do as a defense of Triple H. I know he's not writing these. I think people forget that he's not doing most of the writing because that would almost be impossible nowadays in this modern era. And he has to sign off on it. He has to rely on the writers. He has to rely on the producers. But is he not sat there? He's a long-term guy. We know he's a long-term guy. But is he not sat? Because we saw it in the awful documentary series that I refuse to name. He was like, what does Chelsea Green do after she wins the US title? She went, but Chelsea Green went, I didn't say Chelsea Green, but who did she feud with afterwards? So you see in that fake documentary, he's asking those questions. But is he not still pursuing and pushing it? I don't know what's going on there. There's something there that none of us actually know that's happening. There is something going on that we don't know because I just don't see. I don't know. I've got this worrying feeling that Triple H has given up. I think and what I mean by giving up is I don't mean giving up WWE. I think he's given up fighting. And I reckon he was really battling everything he wanted to do for years and demonstrating it. I think the WrestleMania 40 was an example of that. I think he was the one because he told Cody go out and point at Roman and all that jazz because he knew it was coming on SmackDown and all that. That's all him from if you hear to Cody. I think he's given up fighting. I really do. I think he's gone, TKO, I've taken over. I've got the USA Network. I've got the Saudi Arabia government having a go at me. I've got CW saying this thing. I've now got you doing this as well. I've got ESPN doing this and they're moaning at me, ESPN are, because of numbers and no one's watching the ad revenue and all that. At some point, can you see him just going, I wanted to do WWE and I've got to deal with all this crap.
Yeah.
Do you think that's happening, do you think?
Wrestling is not meant to be corporate. Wrestling's supposed to be carny. It should always be carny.
On the stock market to make more money, isn't it? So.
Right, but I'm saying it should never have gotten to this point. Wrestling is supposed to be carny. It's not supposed to be fun family Disney entertainment. It's supposed to be carny. You're supposed to have and remember, in the end, what wrestling is. It is a fake fight, and there is no reason why fake fighting should ever be this corporate, and it destroyed most of what the fans loved about it and what we loved about it growing up. And that's the biggest, and that's why everyone is cramming for AEW to do well when they're just not going to get over. It's just not.
Well, AEW keep pretending to be different, and in reality, if you want to grab new fans, you have to be sort of similar. You want to be mainstream. If you want to be mainstream, you have to hit the mainstream zeitgeist, and they're not doing that. You can keep saying we're the best wrestler and we do great wrestling. That gets boring eventually. I know this is a wrestling fan to say that wrestling gets boring, but if you do the same match over and over and over again, and you do the same incredible match, if every match is incredible, no match is incredible. Sit
with me at an indie show and tell me, when I'm sitting with these kids and they're wearing WWE merch, tell me how you're AEW. Tell me how you're going to get those kids to AEW.
Exactly.
What are you? You're not going to do it by having the Young Bucks tell inside jokes in a sketch. And you're not going to do it by having Chris Jericho come out and say he gets beat up by Ricochet every week. That's not how you get fans. That's how you do carny indie crap. And I don't know. I don't know.
I never want to say it, but it is an indie promotion with money. And I want it to do well, because I'll tell you what, watching it between 2019 and 2021, I mean, Jesus Christ, how special was that? It was magic.
Some run. It was some run.
The greatest wrestling that's ever happened. Full stop, ever. Honestly, that 2.5 years was just something special. And I would argue this is probably the best they've been since that. I would argue that.
But you could say the best. It's the best in ring, but there's nothing particularly compelling about the stories.
I'm not being dragged. Oh, you're saying that. There's nothing compelling about WWE stories right now.
No, there's not. But AEW stories in 2019 was particularly compelling. There was so much going on.
Is there anything else from the month that you would like to discuss? Anything else that's popped up in your mind from the last month that's been on mainly WWE TV? Anything?
No, I think we hit everything actually this time around, and this is
So go on. Would you like the Transatlantic Pop Fact of the Month? Would you like?
Yes. Yeah, let's do it.
You're sick of Roman Reigns, right? And all that jazz. Would you like some Roman Reigns facts for you?
Sure.
Roman Reigns hasn't lost a singles match on Raw in 3,000 days and hasn't lost a singles match on SmackDown in 2,500 days. That is where we are right now from a Roman Reigns on television standpoint.
And did you know that the only person with a better record than Roman Reigns this year on TV before Tuesday night was Tatum Paxley?
Tatum Paxley. I knew it was someone.
She has not lost one match except for this one that she just lost. She did not lose one match the entire 2026. She won. I think she was 23-0 or something leading up to, or something.
There's a few undefeated. Danhausen obviously is undefeated. I think R-Truth is still undefeated.
But it doesn't count. It doesn't count. Danhausen doesn't count because it's not enough of a sample size. I'm talking. They said it on NXT. There were only two wrestlers and who were undefeated this year, and Tatum Paxley was the third. Two on the main roster and only one on NXT, and it was Tatum Paxley. So
have you heard that WWE were trying to rebuild their tag division after releasing all their tag wrestlers?
Yeah, I don't even want to get into that because that's a whole long conversation. But Fraxium should be the stars on SmackDown. They put together a match on NXT this week.
I say they were on NXT this week, weren't they?
Yeah, Fraxium versus Noam Dar and Romeo Moreno, and that was an awesome match. And I'm saying they need to be there. There needs to be some sort of intervention to get these guys on TV every week because you're making a mistake.
Even the tag titles. I mean, I like Priest and I like Truth, but not as the
tag. That is a garbage cop out of a tag team title scene.
It is
cop out.
And I don't want to say this because I never want to criticize. This is something I don't want to criticize, but I feel like I have to say it, right? So I don't want to because I don't think it's very fair. Priest doesn't look very fit to me. He doesn't look in ring shape. He looks a little bit out of ring shape. When you looked at him when he goes world title reign, only 2 years ago, he looked great. really slim, and really good. And now he looks a little bulkier, but not in the good way. And I'm just a bit worried that he used to be a big bloke.
Yeah.
And really
when he was
hard.
Punishment Martinez, he was gigantic.
He was, and I'm just a bit worried for him because he's obviously not young either, and he's in his mid-40s, isn't he?
Yep.
He's not a young bloke. I'm just a bit worried that he's kind of letting go a little bit, because I really, really liked Priest in that world title reign. I actually thought he was excellent. I really did. I actually thought he was good. I wasn't expecting him to be that good or to be entertained by him, so I didn't really care for him before. But I'm a bit worried for him, and I don't see him pairing with R-Truth well at all. Truth is doing all this terrible comedy, and Priest is not a good enough actor to play against him at all.
It's forced comedy. You don't want forced. You want it to be more organic. It's forced. So
we have our in memoriam section. Should we do our in memoriam section?
Yep.
Thankfully not a crazy one this time, but a couple of people from the kind of the territory days. You might know them. I actually don't, but I always like to mention people. There was a guy called Jerry Gray who was passed. He did a lot of in Georgia and in that sort of era. He had spells in New Japan. He passed this month, 62 years old. And Phil Hickerson wrestled a lot with Jerry Lawler, a lot in Memphis, that sort of thing. I think he passed at 79. So I just wanted to throw out, I remember I always want to talk, even if it's wrestlers we never heard of, anyone who's committed their body in the Americas to the industry. We'll always like to give them a mention and always like to give them a talk about them. If we know more about them, we obviously would like to talk more about them like we did last time. But just wanted to throw those two names out there. Is there anything else you would like to mention before we do our final thing of the show?
No, I think let me try it. Let me just try to put this into. No, I think I'm good. I think we've talked a long time, as we've done last time, an hour 40. This is about right. Our sweet spot.
It is. Well, we're going to do our little final thing. We're going to do nice and short. We always wanted to end. We always like to end on nostalgia. Me and you like the tangent, so we're going to do an actual tangent segment. That's what I want to call it. It's the tangent segment.
Okay.
All we're doing is we're going to name either a forgotten star or a random year, and we're going to see if we could talk about something or someone to do with that in that sort of era.
A random star. Let's figure this out.
Random star sort of thing. We've done a lot of random stars with Mordecai and Marcus Cor. So why don't we? We'll do random star next time. Let's do a random year. So let's take it from 1984 onwards, I think. Name a random year, JGold, from 1984 to now. Random year.
Let's do my favorite year, because as the Knicks have started to finish off the last championship year, I'm going to go with 1994. 94.
So we had a little bit of that. We had Owen Hart. I tell you what, if I'm going 94, there's only the first thing that goes straight to my mind is Brett and Owen. WrestleMania 10 is one of the best opening things I have ever seen. Constructed so wonderfully, but I'm going to talk about something else Brett and Owen related, because we're coming up to the summer. There's SummerSlam cage match I'd like to talk about if we're going to go randomly 1994. Everyone says this is one of the greatest cage matches of all time and all that jazz, don't they? I hate it.
Which one? Which one again?
SummerSlam cage match between Brett and Owen at SummerSlam.
Okay.
I hate this match so much.
Why?
So if you take away all context, there is no such thing as context, and you just show somebody, here is a steel cage match, and go and watch it, it's fantastic. It's brilliant as a steel cage match. But when you throw the context of two brothers who want to hurt each other, who are jealous of each other, it's for the title, and they spend the entire match trying to run away, because that's all it is. It's both of them, including Brett, who might want to hurt his brother, and Owen wants to prove he's better, just spending the entire match trying to run, just trying to jump out of a door for 35 minutes. It drove me mad. I was like, you've been put in a cage. So it was like, we've got to put these brothers who hate each other. Owen is jealous and bitter. Brett's now champion, so he's jealous and bitter even more. Because the end of WrestleMania 10, Brett's holding the title up, everyone's on his shoulders. And then Owen comes out, still annoyed, going, I've just beaten you and you're doing this. Wonderful writing. Oh my God, there's your writing, lads. How easy was that storytelling? Do that. How amazing. And then they have this cage match, and they're just running away. It's in a cage. It should be a blood feud. They should be trying to kill each other, and it's in a cage. And they just run. They just try and go out the door about 117 times. I'm sure somewhere there's a commentator that we know going mad that they're going out of a door. I'm sure. But like, Jesse.
I'll tell you something. A highlight from 1994 is when Chris Benoit suplexed Sabu onto his head and neck.
Broke his neck, yes.
Broke Sabu's neck in the ring in a match, and Sabu was never right ever again. But
no, that was the end of Sabu.
If you remember how that video they used to use that as a highlight package, showing a man break his neck.
It's real, damn it.
I mean,
it's real.
It was one of the most reckless throws ever, and Benoit was a very safe worker. Yeah. So let me give you a little background on something about Benoit. So I always ask, and I don't like, maybe I do like throwing around names, but Dom Garini's a good pal of mine. Mm-hmm. And I asked him one time, why don't guys do suplexes like Guerrero and Benoit and Malenko used to do? Remember? They used to grab you and bring you straight up and straight down. You never went backwards. You went up, and then they would bring.
Buster style,
but suplex. I'm talking about the Germans. So they would do a German would be up, straight up, and then straight down.
Yeah.
Nobody. It might have been like almost like a side suplex instead of a German. Mm-hmm. And I asked Dom, why doesn't anybody do that style? It looks so much safer, and so much more. So much more for the crowd. It looks like you're bringing them up and bringing them down. And Dom said, nobody can do that anymore. Nobody has the skill, and no one is taught. Everyone's taught Germans and side suplexes as throws when they should be a lift. So if you ever look up a highlight of like the side suplex that Eddie did, Eddie never threw anybody over his head. He would always bring you up and straight down on your back, flat backed, and that was something that I always wondered about. So that throw from Benoit on Sabu was very uncharacteristic. If you watch Benoit's samples throughout the rest of his career, he didn't really throw anybody over his head until he was wrestling Angle, but even his Germans were safe. His Germans were straight up and straight down. It was never this like reckless throw.
We're literally reviewing the Invasion storyline, pay-per-view by pay-per-view on our channel, and we decided just to do the entirety of 2001 because, quite frankly, the whole of 2001 was a bit insane with all that stuff. So we've had the Angle-Benoit feud. We've actually done WrestleMania 17, Backlash, and then Judgment Day, and you could just tell how these guys knew how to throw and take the throw as well, even when they get. So I've actually had to really analyze it over the last couple of months, actually, how those two have been doing it. And you're absolutely right. I have seen the Sabu one on too many occasions. It comes up way too often.
Well, the thing I used to remember was how he went on his head and then he pushed himself like this out of the ring. And I just remember that is stuck in my head literally forever. How you say to yourself, holy crap, the dude's neck is broken, and yet he's still pushing himself out of the ring. So,
I adore this new segment of Pick at Random. Yeah, this is what tangenting is all about.
Yes, I love it. I think it's really interesting, and I could talk. 94 was a great year. I think 96 next time I would talk more about Bash at the Beach. But
if I was thinking 96, my first thought does go to NWO. Absolutely.
That's right. Well, but so Hogan, Ric Flair Bash at the Beach 94 was Hogan's first Bash at the Beach.
It was the first time they did properly Hogan versus Flair on pay-per-view.
That's correct. So that's another one we could go in 94. But
but we'll do it. But there's many things in 94. We're going to keep throwing this year out once every 2 months because we're doing Forgotten Star next time. If we want to come up with, we'll come up with one each.
That's fine with me. I think once we get some more of this tightened up, I think I'm a little hungover today, so my brain isn't always there, but we'll get it.
Is there anything you'd like to promote for the next couple of weeks that's coming up?
The NXT night shift. Yeah, the NXT night shift every Tuesday night live. If you want to jump in, I know it's late on the UK, but check us out on our replays. And we have some main event mixers coming up for the Great American Bash. and that whole weekend, I think there are 4 shows that weekend we're going to be doing.
I'm going to be on the Night of Champions mixer. I will be a part of the group that will be talking about Night of Champions. So you will see me again on the main event this time. I'm already writing material for the roast of you, by the way.
Oh, I forgot we're doing that. Yeah,
The roast of JGold. I'm going to start advertising it so people watch it. We might have to clip it. I know it'll be on one of the 12-hour podcasts, but we have to clip that and put it as a separate video. 100% we'll have to.
Yes, we do.
I am currently in material writing for you. I will be there. You can't not. You're my new co-host partner. I will be there.
I don't even know how. I'm trying to figure out if I am going to. I'm trying to figure out if I am going to be able to come up with things that won't hurt too many feelings, because
It's a roast. You only roast the ones you love. I mean, you can't get your feelings hurt. Don't worry, I'm going to call you a prick about 20 times, even though I know you're not. On the Sam's on Wrestling channel, if you want to check us out, we are not. We are associated with the Main Event Wrestling Network, but you won't see our videos on the Main Event Wrestling Network every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Sunday on our channel on YouTube. A few videos we've got that you might be interested that we're doing up this week. What's happening today, but has happened 3 or 4 days ago, and I want people to go back and watch it if they've not seen it. I do a retrospective on the WBF. Vince McMahon's WBF, the World
Bodybuilder. Yeah.
I am educating baby Sam at the WBF. I don't think anyone's going to watch it, because who's going to put that into YouTube?
Dude, I remember the WBF and ICO Pro and all that stuff, and
I will be doing an ICO Pro at some point as well. But I've never had so much fun researching the WBF. We've got came out yesterday, the Ultimate Warrior power rankings. We power ranked the Ultimate Warrior. But this week, for anyone who's interested in what we're doing this week, we're doing tomorrow. We've got a pro and con episode on the brand split. So we're actually going to do all the pros.
That's fun.
Doing a brand split, and we talk about that for 33 minutes.
I'd actually love to do that with you. That's fun. Yeah.
Yes. We might even talk about how about as a thing here if you really want. It doesn't have to be. We review, speaking of the invasion stuff, King of the Ring 2001 is our review that's coming out on Thursday. The Shane McMahon and the Kurt Angle going through the glass. That's an hour-long review.
One of the greatest matches ever.
It's insane. Honestly, the whole pay-per-view is a bit mad, actually, to be honest. We talk about DDP a lot. Sadly, we talk about DDP. Yes,
and his teeth. Yeah.
Yes, but he wasn't teething at that point. He was still stalking a certain taker. We've got a Sam vs. Sam 2-minute challenge. We're going to name ladder match or TLC match participants. See how many we can name in 2 minutes. And then next week, we're going to do our top 10 best WWE entrance themes. I think that'll be a great discussion.
Oh, I have so many. You know who you should be talking to is Kyle. He only listens to wrestling themes. Only.
I had a feeling Kyle and Baby Sam very similar. Baby Sam, when he goes to the gym, only listens to wrestling themes.
That's all he listens to, yeah.
I definitely think we should do something along those lines. That's what I've got up. But also go check me out on TikTok. I do lives where you do challenge me at WWE Trivia. I sit there and I answer every single question in the chat. I never skip a question. I answer every single question in the chat. So if I don't know it, I don't know it. But I try. I'm pretty good. I'm all right. So check us out. Thank you very much for joining us for episode 2.
Oh, and don't forget, subscribe and get on. We're on our way to 400. We will see you soon.
Go follow, subscribe, go follow us, go follow everyone, go follow everyone at the Main Event Wrestling Network, go give us a subscribe, go follow everyone on X, go follow everyone on TikTok, as well as Instagram and everything like that. Get on our socials. We're going to be here every single month with the Transatlantic Pop. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next month. Au revoir.
See ya.
What up, though? You already know what it is. Best in the world, a.k.a. The Problem. Isaiah Broner. And you watching the Main Event Wrestling Network.